wanted to welcome you to the meeting. I appreciate your attendance and your interest in Big Tree. There's a lot of items that I think we need to cover, and so we want to move right along, and we want to make sure to leave ample time for everybody at the end of the session to ask questions, or we'll actually be asking candidates for the 217 board to make a statement, and you'll be free to ask questions of them or discuss it. But I think it's an extremely important election for Big Tree, and also our 217 board team will be doing a meet and greet meeting this Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Pavilion. So if you can make it, I would encourage you to do so. It will be the opportunity to meet and talk to us in a more informal basis, to go into more detail and on any questions or concerns or interests that you have at that time that we can possibly cover in the hour and a half we have tonight. The December 10th election is actually will be the third election I've participated in now at Big Tree, and I'm still a relative newcomer here. And I frankly need to tell you that although I was elected by a pretty wide margin in each of the last two elections, the results of them were not pretty, did not work out well, and did not work to the benefit of Big Tree. So I think it's really important. A lot of people really don't understand how the election works and what the results can be. And we recently sent out an 18-page email blast that talks in more detail about the election process and what could happen. And I think it's really important that you read that over and give us some thought. And rather than pick and choosing or matching or whatever, give us some serious thought to why you're voting for the particular people that you are. You could be very pleased with what we're doing now, and I could get 100% of the votes and still have absolutely no ability to, along with the other people, to do anything positive. I mean, that's exactly what happened 2 years ago in the 2014 election. I got by far the most votes of anybody, but myself and another board member had absolutely no say, no vote, no involvement in anything in the entire board for the entire year, because there were three other candidates that had a special arrangement based on their own interests. One was a new homeowner that just bought a foreclosure for $62,000, wanted the Big Tree homeowners to pay to have it rehabbed and fixed up and sell it for a profit. Guess what? He was successful. He sold it for about twice what he bought it for. Big Tree paid for the expense of fixing it up. The person that allowed that to happen was the president, and he had his own agenda at the time. And I don't know the details, I wasn't here, but for some reason he was really, really angry at some of the things that happened in the past and wanted to take it out on everyone. So basically it was a disaster, in my opinion. And again, I don't want to rant and rave about any particular individual or any particular board, but I think it's really, really important to look at the overall situation and to make some wise decisions. In last year's election, we had a 5-member board team, which we ran for election and we campaigned on. There's several flyers in your handout that we passed out. And again, I think that's kind of important to understand. But the rules of the game were changed shortly before the election. No, I'll get it. And the current board president was running with one other homeowner, Dion Peterson, and they decided to reduce the number of board members that would be elected to the 216 board from 5 members to 3 members. So obviously that created a problem, and although we got elected by a huge vote, 5 votes for everyone that the prior president and his friend had gotten, over 85% of the Big Tree homeowner votes, but the problem is we only had 3 board members. And to make matters worse, within a few months after that, I was put in a position where I had absolutely no alternative but to remove one of those board members for responsibility for building maintenance and repair. Absolutely no choice. Being financially, having the fiduciary responsibility to protect homeowners and their finances. It's something that absolutely had to be done. So at that point, we only had 2 board members for the major part of this year. Bottom line, I think we accomplished a lot this year, and we'll talk about that, but at a very, very high cost, and it's not sustainable. I mean, 2 people trying to do everything that needs to be done in Victory is a virtual impossibility, and that's why at last meeting I proposed a 7-member board be elected for 2017, and that was discussed with homeowners and voted on and approved at last month's board meeting. And I think will be wonderful in the future, and it will enable us to do so much more in a planned, logical manner if that works out. And I'm just hoping that will be the case. I think one of the unfortunate parts of the situation at Victory is we currently have about 40% of our Victory homeowners that never attend the board meeting, that either aren't signed up for the website or don't even open the emails and newsletters and email blasts and have very little idea of what's actually going on. So the risk is that they may be making decisions that are not in the best interest of all of us. The results of the election affect each one of us, you, me, all of us. And it's not about me at all, frankly. If we had 7 other board members that were qualified and wanted to run, I'd be delighted to step aside. I'm happy to work with a team of qualified people that want to work together to make this go, but I don't want to end up in a situation where we don't have the people or everybody's fighting and all the negativeness. I think Victory has had far too much of that over the past year. So my suggestion is that you read this over and you give some thought to some of the things we're going to talk about in the rest of the meeting. In other words, where we were a year ago, where we are today, the things that have happened in the interim, and whether we are moving in the right direction and have the right plan to accomplish the goals that, as a homeowner, you want to see accomplished. So, that being said, let's talk a little bit about 216 in terms of a review. And virtually every election where the incumbent or the current office holder is running, there are 3 basic questions that are asked. I think we saw it in the recent presidential election. You'll see it in governor's elections, mayor's elections, elections for social organizations or homeowners associations like ourselves. And then the question is, the first one is, are we better off than we were before the prior election? In other words, what has been done? Have we made progress? Are we moving in the right direction? And that's really the second one. I think people need to understand that, if Victory is moving forward, accomplishing goals that are going to benefit all of us, we want that to continue, and maybe even do it more effectively to benefit all of us. So that's a key thing. The third thing I would propose, and question that's usually asked, is did the candidates running keep the promises that they made to homeowners during the election campaign? In other words, can we trust them? All over the place you find out about candidates for whatever office or whatever organization that make a lot of promises to get elected, and then they don't keep their promises. So their trust level goes way down, and that's really a problem. Bottom line, if you flip your handouts, find the right one here. Too many papers. Okay. And go to the 3rd page, and this is basically the one of the flyers that we passed out there in the last election. As a matter of fact, several of them, of the next 3 flyers. But the first issue was that there was no real board. There were board members that had absolutely no say in the run of the board, no involvement. It was basically run by one person. There was huge problems with building, wood rot, mold and mildew, poor repair work. And this is something that didn't develop just in 1 year, that had been going on for some time. Again, over and over and over again, we've been told by homeowners, I want to get my building fixed. I've been waiting 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years for work orders and repair work on my building, and it's never been done. Again, I wasn't here. I don't know all the reasons why, but it became obvious that it was a situation that was impossible to take care of in a single year. There's also a major problem with favoritism and lack of accountability. There was no apparent, no business plan to solve the problems. There were tons of personal attacks on individuals, which I think is a totally unwarranted, wrong approach that does nothing but cause hard feelings and problems in the organization. Keeps it from moving forward, and that's something I felt need to be stopped. There's also an ability to sell homes at Big Tree. Very, very difficult to sell a home. Almost all the home sales were falling through because there was so much wood rot, the buyer couldn't get their mortgage approved, and as a result, the sales fell through, the realtors didn't want to sell the homes. There were a lot of foreclosures, prices were depressed. In any event, after taking a hard look at the situation, we put together a plan and a pledge to counter some of the problems. And again, I'd like to, from this point on, just make everything totally positive. I don't want to talk about past problems. I don't have any. I just am really interested in moving forward to, make Big Tree great again. As that was the slogan we had. And if you flip to the one that says the 2012 election, we pledged that we'd have monthly board meetings to keep homeowners informed, which hadn't been done regularly in the past, that we would try to respond to work orders on a prompt basis where we could, that we'd prepare a 5-year plan for building maintenance and repair, and really the whole community, which again, as things developed, we put more and more meat on the bones, and if you go on the website and you look at the newsletter, we'll go item by item by item on specifics in terms of what we did, what we feel we could afford, the progress we made in each area in terms of cleaning up the community, improving the lighting, the landscaping, safety signs, video security systems, working on repairing the buildings, which has been a lot, improving the pool in the grounds, putting in common sense rules and regulations. So, we said we'd prepare a 5-year plan, we'd act in a financially responsible, efficient manner with appropriate cost controls. I come from a business background with an MBA and 35 years experience in some major corporations. And I realize this isn't a corporation, but the basic principles of sound management and fiscal responsibility certainly apply. And that's just not me, I'm talking about the whole board. The whole board should be working as a team to facilitate those things, to make the best possible use of every dollar that homeowners pay in the dues, to make sure we're never put at financial risk, and to have a solid plan to be fair to everybody, and to move forward to improve the community. We said we'd work at better landscaping, pool grounds, and maintenance. We'd work at respect for every Big Tree homeowner and association member. So up until my comments here, which I felt need to be more factual, we have never attacked anybody or anything about the past. And I'm just not interested in doing that. I'm interested in trying to move forward to make everything better. And the last thing, which I think is really, really important, is we pledge that we'd be completely honest, have a high degree of integrity, and try to be as transparent as possible. In other words, provide all the information to homeowners on exactly what was going on. The same pledge, if you flip to the next page, you'll see that this 216 Big Tree Board of Directors pledge to homeowners, that was posted on the board right after we were elected to the board a year ago in the December election. If you go to the board right now, it's still on the board. And if we look at it in terms of have we kept our promises? You know, I'm granted we're not perfect, and granted we have operated with far fewer people than we needed to really do a good job. We have been holding monthly board meetings. We've been seeking to respond promptly as possible to every every work order, like leaks or safety issues, on a prompt basis, and so awful lot was done. We did prepare a detailed 5-year plan, which again, we don't have time to go through it now, but it's all outlined in great detail on the website, and you're free to look at it, and you're free to ask questions about it, make other suggestions, say there's a better way to do something, or I don't agree with the board's position in this area. We tried to do a better job improving the landscaping, pool, and grounds. It's been difficult. We went through a hurricane a few weeks ago, which set back our building maintenance and repairs quite a while, because the contractors were not able to work. They were all behind, and Big Tree was kind of a mess. We had a couple buildings badly damaged during the storm, and so that was a problem. I again fully believe in trying to respect every homeowner, every association member, regardless of whether they agree with me or with the board on any position. I feel that everybody has a right to make suggestions, to criticize or make suggestions. The only thing I've asked at every board meeting is you're free to criticize, make suggestions, make any comments you want, just do it in a respectful manner. No yelling, no swearing, no bad language. We got kicked out of the Y a year ago because that was the case, and I got us back in, but I pledged to the executive director that from now on we would seek to run our meetings in a very responsible, business-like, professional manner, and we'd work on business, and we wouldn't allow things to get out of hand. And again, we focused on moving forward in a positive manner. As far as what's actually been accomplished, while homes weren't selling previously, we've had 17 homes already closed or sold at Big Tree. Prices have gone up on a continual basis. The prices are dramatically higher than they were a year ago, and I mean dramatically. As a matter of fact, the realtors in the real estate community and the buyers know far more about what's going on at Big Tree than a whole lot of our homeowners. For example, a homeowner in my own building, 10347 Big Tree Terrace, building number 40, which has had no repairs at all. We got a roof that's going to be 20 years old in a couple of months. The gutters, part of them fell off. We got wood rot all over the place. We got mold and mildew on our coquina. The Sukas put their home on sale, and they got a full price offer for $149,900 all cash. You wonder, how is that possible? Why would someone make a full price offer on a home that's basically a mess? The answer is the realtors knew exactly what our plan was, and the fact that we've done everything we promised. And they've taken homeowners and they've looked at the buildings that we had prepared and that we were preparing, and what our plans were for the future. And they've told the buyers that, and obviously the buyers understand the plan, and so they're buying it with the understanding that we're going to do exactly what we promised to do, which is what we did for just building 19. If you go look at it now, I mean, it was a mess before, a tree fell on it, whatever. It's got a brand new roof, beautiful new gutters, all the wood rot's repaired, totally painted, new lights. Building 19, the same thing, totally completed. The building is about as close to new on the exterior side as you're going to get. Building 17, if you look at it right now, is under process. The new roof has been put on. They're still working on the siding repairs. We'll be doing the painting. They'll be putting on the gutters, and etc. We're also made a commitment and scheduling work on 2 units in Building 1. 2 units were already done. One was a case I mentioned earlier with the foreclosure that was a lot of money was spent on a year ago, and the second one was repaired to facilitate a home sale. All in all, we're looking at about $120,000+ for those repairs. Now we're still I'll go through the finances in the financial section of it, but we're still I think being financially prudent We don't have money to burn, but again, you know, we're not spending every dollar we have, and we're planning ahead, I think, pretty wisely. I will say that one of the things that has been a great help is that we've got a couple people that are running for the board that have been working on the side on the finance committee that have been a tremendous help. They got great business backgrounds, and they provided a lot of help and direction as we discussed and looked at our financial planning. I'm talking about Bill Jasper. Again, we'll be talking about the insurance issue, and has worked on finances, as well as Luis Lira, who has been a great help. He's got a wonderful business education, 30 or 40 years of top-level management experience, and provided some very, very valuable assistance. And so I think people like that on the future board are going to really facilitate all of our personal best interests. You know, before we finish later on in the meeting, towards the end, I want to talk specifically about the election, give everybody that's running the opportunity to take a couple minutes to, again, introduce themselves to you. And as we go into the question and answer, give you the opportunity to ask questions to people that are on your mind to determine whether or not you feel comfortable voting for them or not. My big interest is just doing a whole lot better than we've done the last couple of years, because we need a board that will work together as a team, that's open to working with the homeowners, keeping them informed, listening to your questions, your problems, your suggestions, and moving forward in a positive manner. We can't have divisiveness. We can't have people on their own making decisions without the rest of the board or finance committee being aware of it. And so I think that's extremely important. So with that, again, the bottom line, I think, as I said, in my view, and you may not agree, and you're certainly welcome to get the question and say, I think you were wrong about that, or I think you were wrong about that. But I think we have, with the limited people we have used the resources we have available to the best of our ability. We have accomplished a lot. Certainly, the outside community sees it as the value of our homes are going up and up. As a matter of fact, my wife and I bought a home in the same building that our neighbors got a $149,900 full price offer for 60% less than 2 years ago. Why? You know, the building hadn't even been repaired. 60%. And believe me, the appreciation didn't happen the year before. It didn't happen in 2015. It happened this year.
Is it a 2-bedroom or 3?
Both of them are 3 bedrooms. Yeah, ours is a 3 bedroom. The other one was a 3.
I have a question. Besides sale, was that a cash sale?
The what?
Was it a cash sale?
All cash.
The unit in your building?
Yeah, it was all cash.
Was it all cash sale?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
The last thing is,
one other question. Was there an assurance that there'd be WDO repairs on it?
again, I'm not, you know.
WDO is when a lender requires.
There's no lender involved. It's
So
all
then
cash
there's no requirement for WDO.
There's no mortgage to be approved, there's no lender.
Right, so then there's no need for a WDO.
Right.
To make immediate repairs.
Yeah.
That's right.
In any event, we do, the last flyer we have on here is the proposed team. There's 6 of us now. And for some reason, Adrian's picture didn't show up on here. I don't know what happened. Who took it off? When I printed it up on the last one, it wasn't there. I apologize. I don't know why that happened. Moving forward, to keep on schedule so we have ample time, the next thing is the Treasurer's report, and it's not super earth-shaking or eventful. At the end of October, our cash balance was $137,153. Our current assets were $168,000. We actually were under our, as we have pretty much every month, we've been under our administrative expenses by about $3,000 a month, about $35,000 year to date. That's in October. And we increased our cash flow $17,000 in October. Obviously, that's not going to be the case with all the money I told you we just spent on buildings and that we're planning to spend in the future. But it's going to be scheduled in a way that's financially responsible and at the same time moving as quickly as we can, assuming we're elected. I mean, that's the the whole issue, what we're here to talk about. Are the Big Tree homeowners feel that the current board and the proposed board team are the people that can really continue to move forward, to make our community nicer, to keep our buildings in better shape, help our property values to continue to go up like they have been? If so, we will move forward as rapidly as we possibly can, and now we'll have hopefully a 7-member team rather than 2 members, one of which got married and moved out of Big Tree, and which is another problem I'm as happy as could be for her, but obviously she has a lot of other commitments and personal issues right now. But with a 7-member board team, I think we can do dramatically better next year than in terms of providing your needs and continuing to make forward Big Tree a great community again. The only reason I'm doing this, I mean, there wasn't a penny spent on my building the whole time. I've been working at this for 2 years now, and you know, I think in terms of the recent results, it's paid off for homeowners in general. It's paid off for us because now the house we bought for $94,000 is worth about $150,000, and when it gets fixed up, it'll be worth more than that. So, and again, everybody, all of us have a personal investment and a personal interest. We don't plan on selling or moving, at least I hope so. I hope we don't start going backwards and have a, you know, getting into the negativeness and board members only taking care of themselves, and et cetera, et cetera. So with that, let's move forward and talk about some of the other items. Bottom line, when we do November's financial statement, which will be done at the annual meeting in 10 days from now, you'll still see a positive cash value balance, but it's going to be less than here. So we're probably looking about $60,000 to $70,000 range. We still haven't got all the bills in and stuff. It's still in the process, but again, I think we're moving in the right direction. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Bill Jasper for a few minutes. At our last board meeting, we talked a lot about the insurance issue and the problems, and homeowners that don't currently have insurance, whether they should buy it, how it impacts other people. So, Bill?
You know, Larry asked me to do this, and I watched the old videos, and I talked to a couple of you in here, you know, like, what do people really want to hear about insurance? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. So, you know, so what I did is put together something with an idea that the next time you sit down with your insurance agent or your broker, or your insurance company, that you have something to kind of have in your file to use to refer to, just to trigger some questions and answers. And you know, I talked to Chuck Klein about this. I talked to other people. You know, what do people really want to hear in here? Oh, in the center.
He won't be on the video.
Yeah, here's some there.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to go through this real quickly. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. If anybody has any questions, they can either email me or call me. But there are a lot of basic kind of questions that I've heard on the videos over time, especially after Hurricane Matthew, that people wanted to know about their insurance program. So if you look at the left-hand side, the top diagram really just shows what your responsibility is as a homeowner. Basically everything that's within your property line is your responsibility. The next thing down is a graphic of my own insurance program. So it shows you the limits that I buy, the kind of coverages, the kind of deductibles. And by the way, that tree that was leaning against my house, you know, my deductible is $3,200. When I add up the cost of removing the tree, about $2,000. Add up the cost of re-roofing the portion, about $1,000. Add up the painting, add up the new gutters. Guess what? I'm right at my deductible, $3,200. So somebody got that right. I suspect it's the insurance company that got that one right. You can see what my premiums are. It's just an indication. It doesn't mean that you have to spend this kind of money or I should be spending this kind of money, but it's just indicative for you. You can use it as a benchmark to compare against whatever it is that you're buying. And then the bottom left is just so you know what's on the community website. We've got a whole bunch of stuff on there about insurance. Everything you want to know about your own personal situation, what the association is buying in the way of insurance and things like that. So it's just a resource for you to look at here. If you flip it over on the other side, the big thing here is what happens if a tree falls on my home or my car. So I've answered that question for you. It's not a good answer, clearly, because your homeowner's policy probably has about $500 worth of coverage in there to pay for the cost. Lisa's experienced this. I've experienced it. I had a tree limb fall on my screen enclosure, $750. You know, it is expensive when there's accidental damage. In fact, if you flip back on the other side, I tried to draw the difference between what is maintenance and what is insurance. So if you think about your car, you change the oil in your car, you change the brakes, you change stuff like that, that's maintenance. You get into an accident, that's insurance. The same thing happens with your buildings. You know, again, the building is your responsibility. So if a tree falls on it, if there's a fire, if there's any kind of damage to your building, it's your nickel, I'm afraid, and it's your responsibility to adequately insure it. How do I save money on my insurance? Truthfully, homeowners insurance is not all that competitive. That's my experience. So there are discounts and things like that. The best discount that I got was combining my home insurance with my car insurance, with all my other kind of insurance, and I get a multiple line discount from State Farm for doing that, and it works pretty good for me. But in terms of, can one company charge more or less than another company? Yeah, maybe, but I think you're going to find that there really isn't a lot of money to save. Then the last thing I bring to your attention is under glossary, where it says loss of use. This is the thing people don't think about, but this is really an important coverage in your homeowner's policy, because if something happens in your building and your unit is not habitable and you have to spend some time temporarily somewhere else, guess what? You need a source of money to pay for your temporary living expenses somewhere else, because guess what? You got to continue to pay the association, the assessment on your home. So, I mean, it's a double whammy for somebody that has a bad loss to their unit, because not only do they not have the use of their unit, but they have to pay for it as if they had the use of their unit. So if there are any questions, I gave you a little bit about flood hazard, seismic, sinkhole, all these kind of things that I think about because it's my background. You don't have to think about because it's really a pretty low, unless you're around the pond. And I think that it is a serious issue in here because of stormwater runoff. Yeah, Cheryl?
There's one thing, since we lost electricity to Big Tree for 2 days, I lost a lot of meat, a lot of food. You get to claim that on your taxes.
Yeah, it's a casualty loss. Anything, even your deductible. If you're not insured for proper limits, yeah, that's a very good point. It's a casualty loss. It has to exceed a certain amount of your adjusted gross income, but it is a casualty loss and something you need to deduct from your taxes. Are there any other questions? I don't want to take up too much time on it. Again, I'm available.
I have a question, Bill.
Yeah.
On the second thing here, it says, we're a homeowners association. The association could not purchase insurance for the benefit of homeowners even if we wanted to. Why is that?
Because, just like I say right after that, we don't have an insurable interest.
Well, it seems to me that if the association is responsible for the roofs and the exterior of the buildings, that is essentially why we pay the amount of HOA fee that we do, that we're paying for that. Why wouldn't we insure it?
Well, again, because what I try to draw the distinction between maintenance and insurance. Lisa, you're absolutely right. That's what the assessment is for. It's to pay for ordinary wear and tear to the building.
Okay,
So restoration of paint, restoration of wood rot, all that other kind of stuff, but that's ordinary wear and tear, and that is not the subject of insurance.
so my question is, why are we spending our money to do that if we can't insure it? But the other thing I noticed down on building 17 where the limb went through,
Right.
who repaired that? Because the shingles don't match. It looks really,
Well, I'm not going to
Tacky
talk
and
about
horrible.
quality of repair, but it is the homeowner's responsibility
did the
to pay
homeowner
for
do
the
that
damage.
or we did it?
Well, the homeowner got a bill for $1,000 for their unit, for the trees and whatever, when the roofing bill comes through and we can identify exactly how much is related strictly to patching the hole in the roof, the homeowner's gonna have to pay that too and make that a subject of their insurance claim and submit
So
it.
we had that done?
We had it done, yeah. It would
The
coincidentally.
shingles don't even match.
Well, all right, that's a quality issue, Lisa.
Yeah, it is.
That is not really.
It looks bad.
Well, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying it has nothing to do with insurance.
That's really not the case. Bill's referring to something else. In that particular building, I recommended A.J. Wells, who does all the roofing, to match it. The homeowner went out on their own and said they weren't available immediately, so they went and hired another roofer, saying it's my job anyway, so. And there's nothing we can do about
Then it
it.
Well,
becomes an
there you go,
architectural, it's an
how does that affect our
architectural.
property values?
That's not gonna.
You know?
Let me ask a question at this point. I think one thing we ought to do is understand that we do have an architectural compliance
Right.
responsibility. And
Absolutely.
to see that the units are uniformly done, so that in that respect, we should be overseeing any insurance repair and ensure that the architectural compliance. Don't you agree?
Kay is shaking her head no. In this particular case, if I'm right, if it's the same one, I think that homeowner was selling the unit and wanted it done immediately, and she just took things into her own hands.
I'm not saying that she
Well,
shouldn't
you
have
sent
done
her an email telling her it was her responsibility.
Well, because it is. What else can we say?
It's her responsibility to pay for the damage, but it's not, I think that the repairs should have been coordinated with the association, so that it is consistent to Chet's point with the
Okay, do you
architectural.
agree with that point that I just made?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You know, I think as an action item, we should.
When we have a 7-member board, we should actually have an architectural review committee working with the community.
To go along with
Right now, where's our board?
To go along with insurance.
You had a board, but
adjustment.
you were the one that told me I couldn't do anything.
For very good reason.
Why
Tell
is
us,
that?
tell
Why
us,
is
tell
that?
the reason.
What's the reason?
What's the reason? Tell everybody.
I think I'm done with
I'm
insurance.
sorry.
Wait a minute, Bill,
Yeah.
all right, so I get the difference between a condo and a townhome.
Right.
Okay, but Big Tree townhomes are not constructed in the typical way of a townhome. We have shared roofs and shared exterior walls, right?
Is that not the way other townhomes are?
They
No,
are.
not typically.
They all are.
No, they're not.
Most of them are.
You can go right up here to Bay Meadows and Craven Road. There's a townhome community there,
One of many.
and they're constructed, there's 2 units side by side. They don't share a roof, they don't share walls. They have an HOA fee of $30 a
But
month.
others
Hey,
are.
we're gonna have to
and-
table this. We got a lot to cover, and we gotta get out of here at
Lisa, I'll be
8:30.
glad- I'll be glad to meet with you personally and kind of just, continue the
Well,
discussion
we
or
have
anybody
met
else.
about this. To me, it's very disconcerting that we have no insurance on the buildings.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make it happen tonight, though.
We're having a question and answer session at the end. Luis Lira is gonna
Thank you.
talk about our organizational plans for the future. Once we have the kind of board that we should have, hopefully. Luis?
Thank you. My name is Luis Lira. I'm running for a seat on the board this year. I'm a volunteer homeowner, and this year I've had the good fortune to work with Chester Beatty on the documents committee, going through a lot of old verbiage, trying to modernize it and bring it up to date so that when it's presented to the new board, it would be scrutinized, approved, and presented to the homeowners and go through the approval process that it has to make sure that all of the issues that were related to the Gates Petroleum Company are no longer in that document. Reference to the developer are no longer in that document, so thank you guys, because there was a lot of work this year. And you're very close to very close to getting that done and putting that forward. This year, working with Bill on the finance committee and also with Larry, and trying to look at what the expenditures are going to be throughout the year, and having to keep pace with the monthly income from all of the dues that are collected, to be able to spread it out and get the things done over the course of the year. It's been 11 months of that type of work for volunteers, and I applaud you. Thank you for giving us your time. Bill, thanks for this. This is a good insurance document, but as insurances go, it's always clear as mud. And they always would.
Yeah, I say it is a highly technical, legal
They
contract.
always would.
It's a
So
conditional
you never come
promise
out
to
ahead.
pay. And
Never
that's
come
all
out
it
ahead
is.
with the insurance
Yeah.
company. One of the things that was done at the previous board meeting was vote on expanding the seats on the board of directors to 7. I think that's going to be a tremendous asset for Big Tree next year, because it actually sets up a person that you can go to on the board for a particular category, if it's maintenance, if it happens to be the grounds, whatever the categories are gonna end up being, there's gonna be a series of roles and responsibilities that that person's responsible for. And that can only help in the response time back to the homeowner. Because when a homeowner submits a request, it'll get funneled to the right person, they'll take care of it. So hopefully this year with 7 people on the board, that's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier. Communications is gonna be a lot better. And I encourage you all to go out and vote. And vote your heart. Whatever you think you wanna vote for, put it down. The other thing I wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit on what Larry said. This year, there was a great effort done on bad debt collection. That helped a lot because there were a lot of homeowners that were in arrears on their homeowners' dues. And of course, that puts a burden on everybody else. So there was a recovery program put in place, and I don't know what the final numbers were, but
It still is about $47,000 owing, but it's down by about $20,000 from where it used to be. It's creeping up a little bit because we've got a couple situations in here that are
the
big
key is
numbers.
that the Budget and Finance Committee were putting checks on that, they were tracking it, and they were able to recover a lot. Yes, sir?
I have a question on that. I think basically we've got most people paying monthly $225 at least.
Yes.
That's the big thing that's happened now, right?
Yes.
And we've resolved some of the interim things, but we haven't got rid of the major write-offs yet. I mean, those.
Not in total.
Not in total,
But there was a $47,000 recovery, it's actual money.
Of actual money, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
How much money did we spend with the lawyer to accomplish?
I cannot tell you that.
No,
Remember,
Lisa,
I'm a
I
volunteer
can
homeowner.
answer that because.
I'm a volunteer homeowner on the committee, and I can't.
I can answer that.
Okay.
It is the delinquent homeowner that pays 100% of all the past due interest and the collection fees. That's passed on. When we reach a settlement, when we reach a settlement with somebody, that is included as well as the past due assessments. So in a perfect world, and I don't say that it always is a perfect world, but net, there's no cost to the association to collect the past due assessment.
The other, yes, sir.
At the end of the year, we were a certain portion, we had a check balance or a cash balance that was less because there was some money that was still being held by the other management company. That then came into it was deposited in. Now, that's not part of the increase that we had.
No. I'm talking about homeowner funds recovery.
Right, but there was a cash balance that,
I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, okay, that is not part of our cash increase at all.
Skip, I've got it all on an Excel table if you want to sit down with
Right,
that.
yeah.
I'll share it with you.
Okay, fine.
So anyway, the other significant item, I think, for this year was the actual completion rate for work orders. Although it's not where it really should be, in my opinion, it's at least 50% of the work orders that have been issued since January have been completed. And these are work orders that are unscheduled requests. Not scheduled maintenance like roofing replacement or things of that nature, or gutters installed. These are actual crisis situations that the homeowners are writing work orders on at a 50% rate of closure. So that was a vast improvement for what we had in previous years, which was about 15%. So with that, I thank you very much for your time. I hope you vote for me, and we'll go to the election. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. What I'd like to do now is give the other members running for the board first in our team, and anyone else that's running an opportunity to take a couple minutes to explain their background and qualifications to the board. And following that, we'll open it up for questions. Again, the only thing I'd ask is we need to be recognized. I don't want 4 people talking at the same time, and we need to be respectful. But I think it's important you get the opportunity to ask each of the board candidates, myself, Bill, Louise, Richard, Joshua, Lisa, Dion, whoever else is running. So, Richard, why don't you take a minute?
How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. I recognize some of y'all now. I've lived here a few months. I want to introduce myself. It's Richard Wakely. This is my wife, Bev. We're married, and of course, and originally from Augusta, Georgia. and moved down here in 1983. Got transferred to a property management firm. We moved out to St. Johns County, was out there 2 years, downsized, and decided to move to Big Tree, thought it was a great price point here. Looked around a lot before we came. The homes we looked at were a lot worse shape for a lot more money, which we could not believe until we finally ran into Big Tree. So we really like it here, like all the neighbors, we love all the trees, and hope to make this a long-time place for us. And the reason I'm in here tonight, asking for your vote, I'm in property management, been in property management most all of my adult life, and feel like I have some expertise in the landscaping part of it. That's what I do mostly for the property management company I'm with. So that's kind of my expertise, is making the grounds look good, put some curb appeal into it. So I'm asking for your vote, and let's make Big Tree great again. Thank y'all.
A great background and candidate to consider. So, Joshua Manning, I'd like Joshua to come up and tell you about his background.
Hey, I've lived here for, I don't know, the better part of 42 years. Grew up in Jacksonville, born and raised here. I've been all around doing a whole bunch of different things. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I have 29 years of customer service experience, so I think that I can bring a different perspective and kind of educate some people, because I think that, as we've all experienced here tonight, we need to be educating the people that live here in Big Tree. And with my background, I have a little bit of background in data forensics and a security background, so I can make recommendations and things of that nature of what we can do better. And he's done a great job. I think what he's doing with the five-year plan is a great plan, and I think that we can move forward, and I want to help build this place. So, is there any questions for me? Thank you.
Well,
What do
we'll
you
open
think
it
of
up
our
to questions
security now?
for everybody.
I don't know anything about the security now. The grounds look great. The lights are up. I like all the video that he's got taken of the coming in, going, pool area, the parking area in the back where we live at.
Security is an issue though.
It is
that
an
would be
issue,
Very
yeah.
valuable.
Yep.
Have you seen the fence around this place?
Yep. And yeah, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to work on. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you, Joshua. Adrian? This is Adrian Bieber. She's got a great background in editorial work and administrative work, and I think would be a great help to a future board.
I'm volunteering to help anybody that needs anything at all, at any time. This is where I'm going to probably be for the rest of my life, and I think it's a paradise for me. And I lived in many, many places. This place is so convenient. It's almost, I was going to actually go to a senior citizen building, but when I found this place, oh my God, I just walked from the parking lot right into my unit. And I just love the scenery. Look out my window, it's heavenly. And everything is so close, the bank, the shopping, everything. And everyone in the community that I've met, it's just so friendly and so warm. I just love it. So that's why I would like to help everybody.
Thank you. Dion? Dion's a long-term resident here, so I'm sure a lot of you know her.
Well, I don't really know what to say. I know there's a lot of people sitting in the audience that probably have some negative things to say about me. I've lived in Big Tree since 1997. Accomplished a lot for our community, and I would like to continue to do so. Under any terms that any of the new members, I'm happy to see all the new faces, especially Jasper and Louise. Thank you for all of the prop work that you have given to our community. And I will be very happy to hear more than one person speak at our meetings.
I will too.
Well, I'm not quite sure of that. But anyway, I wish the best of our possibilities among us through non-contentious interaction among us. That's the scoop.
Thank you very much, Dion.
Well, I'm certainly not very much of a politician or public speaker, but and I hate to be the one to bring things rosy and positive, but I have had several disagreements in things that I feel are extremely important to the association and the community. And those things relate to the insurance and our property management company. We're paying a lot of money to the management company. We've got a lot of different categories in our financial documents. And in the beginning, when I brought these to the attention of Bill and Luis and Larry, trying to figure out ways that we could modify expenses that we had, to bring down cost in certain areas so that we could devote more money to the building maintenance. Those things were just ignored, and if Larry didn't agree with what I had to say, he simply dismissed it. So I put in a lot of effort and a lot of time in the first 4 months of the year coordinating the roofers, the painters, the guys who did the siding. It took a lot of time and effort on my part, and as a result, I got about 20, almost half of the buildings done in the first 4 months of the year. So I feel that I made a huge impact on the way that Big Tree looks. Not just the way it looks, but the actual technical work that was done to the buildings. And from what I've seen, since Larry Kahn unauthorized me to work on any buildings, that the work is being done now improperly.
Is this a campaign speech or a trash piece?
Yeah.
What are you
What I'd
talking
like to
about?
do is have all the candidates
down.
bring their chairs up.
You know,
God.
I have my 3 minutes too, so.
It's up. It's up.
There's a lot of wood that
It's,
is
you're well over.
that's not painted.
No, you shut up.
Whoa, whoa.
Let's be nice.
Let me
Oh, do your campaign speech. Don't trash him.
You don't agree with what I'm saying?
No, you're not campaigning.
We've got 20 minutes. Let's have everybody have an opportunity to, homeowners ask questions of anybody you want, and we'll just do it in an organized manner to make the best use of our time.
I'm sure Lisa
So
has a
Bill,
lot of
Deanne,
questions.
Joshua,
So
Luis.
my point is, when you put wood up,
Oh,
and I
God.
think I've talked about it ad nauseum. Yes, I have. When you put this raw wood up, it's going to rot again very quickly, and it's just flushing the money down the toilet. Every time this happens, you're going to be
Unbelievable.
rotten repair over and over, and the money just goes down the toilet.
Okay.
So
Come on,
I
everybody.
have one
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, come
I
on.
have one more thing to
Please.
say. When Larry
Sarah, you spend the first 30 minutes.
Trashing him. Not the campaigning.
For yourself. It's an order here.
Please.
No,
If anybody's speaking other than Larry, we're shut down.
This is-
No,
we
we're
got
not. No,
20
they're not.
minutes, and we got like 9 candidates, so.
Then why did we waste the first 30 minutes?
Why is she trashing if you him?
That's a board report.
Please.
No, it
I'm
wasn't.
just stating the fact.
Well,
of
this
what
isn't a
happened.
time for it. You're supposed to tell your experiences
Well, look.
and what you can add,
She
not
just
what you've been
said
through.
that.
Shut
No,
up.
I don't want to argue with you. I just.
I don't want to
wanted
argue
say
with you
what I
either, but I'm
have
so
to say.
tired of hearing of all you did. And, you know, you don't understand why you were asked to resign. Why doesn't Larry tell us why?
Let's keep it down, y'all.
Now we've got people leaving the meeting. I think this is, I think you have points. And I wish we could get these points addressed in a good way. And I think with the next board that comes in, you will have your say and you'll be able to.
The bottom line, that wasn't the issue at all as far as why she was removed from the board.
I
Absolutely.
don't know
So now
about
you
that
get to talk
fast
and she
right now
doesn't?
myself.
I tried in every way to work with you and Luis and Bill.
So why would
I
it go?
even went so far, you know, you said, oh, well, you're spending all the money. Well, let's try to figure out a way to cut down things that
Please,
we're spending on that we
Lisa,
don't
let
need
this-
to.
let's-
I even said, okay, just give me
Yeah.
a number, any number,
Let her talk.
give me any number, and I'll work with that. I mean,
That's not
you couldn't be more agreeable than that. How do you do that?
That is absolutely not true.
And
Lisa
Victoria,
refused to work with the 2 other board
Shh.
members, refused to keep us advised what's going on. refused to get authorization for work. She went ahead and made commitments for work, including her own building, without anybody's approval. She refused to work with the finance committee.
Hold
We
on.
tried for
No, I worked on my building because the unit next to mine was for sale.
Okay.
That didn't get sold the year before because Leo Johns didn't fix it. And I said from the very beginning, I didn't want to do piecemeal work on this unit, work on that unit. I wanted to work on buildings in their entirety. It's the only way to repair the buildings and have them done correctly.
Yeah. Bill Jasper even had a whole series of meetings with you trying to work out something where we could. You do have some skills and ability, but you can't have somebody running off and making commitments that are way outside of our budget without any authority or approval from other board members. That is not the way it works. It can't work that way. That's not right. It's not financially responsible.
Well,
Period.
you
I
know
think
what?
that's enough said. Why don't we have the other representatives that are
Please,
gonna.
yeah.
Can I
Dion,
come
the
up
others,
with-
please come up and.
Can I do that, please? Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, my name is Chester Brown. I have a Navy background. I'm from a Navy family. I was in the Navy 7 years. I was in data processing in the Navy 7 years. The last duty station, I was in the operations statistics of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So my background is pretty clean. You know, I don't have too many skeletons in my closet. So, and I also had, I'm a lifelong learner. I consider myself to be that. I have done as far as associate arts degree in data processing. I worked for Sears Roebuck and Company. Had experience in accounts payable and data processing. I worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I had experience in kind of insurance, and basically that's what we're dealing with here as a maintenance company to actually, handle claims and things like that, just like insurance does. So, I consider myself to be somewhat versed in that. I value data as an asset, and I think we should be using data to make projections and understand costs and stuff like that. I'd be hot on tightening up our invoicing standards so we have a lot more clarity in what was financially spent to do repairs. I believe in follow-up, and I look forward to getting everybody in Big Creek put the best foot forward and be responsive to each other in that respect. I would hate for us to be bogged down in all of this bantering that we have over the past. I think we need to move forward here in Big Creek. I want to serve on the board. I think the board should be setting up guidelines. I think we should be hiring facilitators to do our job with the things we need to get done under the guidelines we give them. And then we should be following up on that to ensure that they do, and constantly getting them to evolve to do a better job for us, rather than to sit back and say, just criticize them and say nothing. And so I'm hoping we can cause anybody that does management work for us to know that we're going to give them, that we're going to hold them to a certain level of responsiveness where they will listen to us and improve what they do. And under those respects, I think that we can come up with a fiscally responsive situation.
Thank you, Dr.
I've been really fortunate this year. I feel like the camel that kind of had its nose under the tent and got to know a lot of what was going on in Big Tree this year. And I want to say that if I'm elected and I'm on the board, my interest is really in the money. And I will challenge every nickel that we spend in this community. I will look at every category of spending, starting with building maintenance, and I have a real interest in how we're spending money on building maintenance in our plan. Frankly, we spent a lot of money this year. We'll probably wind up finishing the year having spent $325,000, maybe $350,000. That's a lot of money in this community. Next year, we're not gonna have that same kind of money. I figure maybe we're gonna be lucky if we have 85 for the roofs, and maybe 175 for the buildings, maybe 265 altogether, because we, as Larry said, we squeezed a lot of cash out of a lot of places this year so that we could spend a lot of money this year, but we're not gonna be able to do that next year. So I'm really interested in a building maintenance plan. I want to speak, and I'm looking at the CAM relationship, I'm looking at how we collect money, I'm going to look at everything like that and see how we can get more value out of what we're doing. I'd like to just say, Lisa, I want to direct you personally because I have a lot of respect for you. I think you did a wonderful thing in this community to assess what needed to be done on the buildings. You know, to come up with a plan. You and I work very well. If you look at the accounting that I do every single month, I still have the numbers that we put together in that plan. Now, there's a variance from what our original plan was. And I think that the only place where we kind of broke down in the spring was we had a little bit of a disagreement about how fast we could spend our money because we didn't want to get ahead. And we had a disagreement about how much of our cash we should spend. And that's a very valid thing, and that's something that as a community we need to talk about. Now, our original plan was to draw down our cash by $50,000 from roughly 125 down to 75. Now, if we're lucky, you know, maybe we're going to finish the year. We didn't count on Hurricane Matthew happening, but we're going to be pretty close to that number. So we did have a bogey. We did have a number that we were working with. That was our plan, $262,500 and I think we had a plan that was working pretty well. But where it broke down was just a disagreement. There was an honest difference of opinion about how fast and how much we should spend.
So, in your opinion, is that a reason to exclude me and have me not do work on the board?
You know, we tried to impose financial controls. And Lisa, in fairness, you resisted the idea of imposing financial controls.
Well, my
Your heart was right. You wanted to do what was right for the community. You wanted to fix all the buildings, and I certainly respect that. But I also, from a financial standpoint, know that we can't get ahead of ourselves, that we have to kind of pace our spending with our cash revenues, right? And we had to agree, and at the time we thought a prudent level was to draw down our cash balance to $75,000. So we just had a disagreement. Is that a legitimate reason for you to be relieved from your responsibility? I don't know, that's debatable.
Well,
You know,
in light of, you know, knowing what I know now and knowing, you know, the situation that we're in with the insurance and having no reserve, in the beginning I thought, well, you know, our only problem really, it's the buildings. The buildings are in horrible shape and that's the number one concern.
Absolutely.
But that's not really my number one concern
Bottom
now.
line is when you spend money without the authority and approval, and without informing the other board members, that is totally unacceptable and wrong.
Wait,
When you refuse.
Now, I'll tell you what's unacceptable
wait a minute,
and
now
wrong
you've
about it.
added that, what, Larry. I
Bonnie
think
Gilman's sidewalk
I think-
is
I think
still
we-
not repaired.
Why did you chime in just now? There was a perfectly good discussion that could have been left at that.
Well,
And you had to add that into it.
Rick, I think that's the key thing.
Well, let's be a little blunt right now where I don't think
I
it's
mean-
required.
The first thing that you unauthorized me to do, after I fixed Adrian's sidewalk and had to have the tree taken down to fix it, then, when I wanted to fix another sidewalk, Ms. Bonnie Gelman's sidewalk, who's 91 years old, you said no. And her sidewalk is still broken today.
The bottom line, under our governing documents, under Florida law, no single board member goes out and makes commitments and spends money without telling the board members and getting everyone's approval.
Well, that's
We're
exactly
supposed-
what you've done.
That's not true. Anyways, bottom line, if we can't work together as a team, it doesn't work. Bill is right that Lisa made a good contribution. I'm the one that asked Lisa to join the board because she did have some background in maintenance and control, and I was fully in favor of the plan she presented in March, but for some reason, she just decided she could now do things totally on her own.
I did not.
You didn't, whether,
No.
period. Anyways, you just leave it at that.
Well,
Pardon?
Any questions? Do you have any
are we
questions?
question and answers?
Yeah, I have
Do
a
we have
We
another?
got 4 minutes left.
We have a question.
I got just a basic procedural question.
Sure.
And it's, just a simple how-to. And I realize we have issues with our buildings, but I've got a corner, the Keno rock that's crumbling. What do I do for like a work order? Is that something that's
Yeah, it's a lot of
repairable?
work order, and, I mean, there is a lot of different kinds of things going on.
Right.
Luis mentioned we completed 50% of the work orders. We made it clear in our plan that we're gonna take care of leaks, safety items, and emergencies, but we can't fix every wood rot issue or every, I've got leaking, broken cocaine on my building, and it's been that way all year. And quite a few people. The goal is to get there, but we have to spend our money on the worst buildings and the high priority issues, things we absolutely have to get done. We don't have enough money to
So
do everybody's
it's
work.
kind of a prioritization. This is a minor thing.
Yeah, but definitely submit it and we'll
Yeah, I
look
did-
at it and fit it into the
I did
plan.
submit it, and I didn't get any feedback, but, so I thought I'd just come to the meeting. And, yeah, this is the first meeting I've been to.
Yeah.
I've lived here for 13 years,
Right.
okay?
I appreciate it. But the bottom line is we just haven't been able to deal with every non-emergency issue, and it's gonna be a little while before we get to that point. Hopefully, later in the next year, we'll be able to get to the point. I mean, the goal is to be able to get to the point when you call and you say, I've got a problem, we get it fixed right away when all the buildings are up to speed. But we still have buildings with very serious problems, and we need to address those issues. We're, part of the plan that Bill didn't mention, but we're working on a plan for a complete review and assessment of all the buildings here in January. Actually, after the election, assuming we are elected, and presenting the details of exactly where we're at on a building maintenance and repair, building by building by building, and outlining what we feel are the priorities. And we will present that in an open manner at the board meeting. People ask questions about it. And again, we want to basically set our priorities right, take care of our top priorities first, and keep moving forward until, again, make Big Tree great again. It's getting to the point where everything in the community is done right. The last couple of years, we're doing irrigation and lighting and streets and sewers and
You keep saying a work order, is there a form work order, or you just send in an email?
well, you contact CAM, and they're the ones that prepare the work order, and they send them to, by email. Luis Lira is keeping track of all the work orders, and we review them and identify those that are high priority or emergency
And
issues.
she can email Ken,
Pardon?
and she can email Ken.
Yes, you can email, you can
So
call.
that's what you do, you send in a report
An
by
email,
email.
okay, because you keep saying work order, and I thought, well, maybe there's a form that we have to fill out.
CAM has a little form that they email to myself and Luis, and again, we evaluate the work orders, determine the priority. If it's an emergency, we get on it right away and get it repaired. If it's not, we fit it into the schedule. As Luis said, we did get a number of non-critical emergencies done, but we just can't do everything.
So the one thing we'll be working on is a feedback system.
Yeah, and Luis is
This
working
says,
on,
this is what we're gonna do, this is where your
Luis-
work order is, and this is when we'll next address it, right?
Luis proposed that plan at a board meeting a few months ago, basically to have all the work orders online so everybody can look at it with a report as to where we are with the work order. This one has been completed, this one is a high priority, we're scheduling it, et cetera. This one is gonna have to wait a couple months or whatever it happens to be, so everything's transparent, so everybody knows exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things in the works too on communication, right? Like there's this chip, this email system that Bill Jasper went out on, and I think we can use that to communicate emails, presentations to everybody, right? And then there's a phone system maybe that will be able to.
Obviously, we're open to reviewing high technology. I mean, I got flack from people about spending $35 a month for our Big Tree website. But frankly, that's saving us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and providing a huge benefit for everybody. And we're certainly open to looking at other technology or things that are gonna help.
Yeah, those are a couple of things that you're thinking of doing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
At the last meeting, I told everybody that they wanted to give me their phone number, I would be willing myself to personally call whenever there was somebody that didn't have an email, or I would personally jacuzzi hasn't been working.
I sent you the email, they came out to fix it, and there was
Why
supposedly
have
fixed
that
it.
off? Why can't we just shut it down in the winter? Nobody goes in the jacuzzi in the winter. You do? Oh, sorry.
I mean, I don't have a hardline position, I don't have to use it, but it has been that way in the past. I don't think it's that expensive, but it's certainly something we can look at. Nobody's gonna use it, shut it down, I agree.
Avery, is it fiber or
Fiber.
fiber?
Yes, fiber.
Okay, our time's up, and I really promise that we get out of here at 8:30, so.
Yeah, we're out here at 8:30.
Well, my watch is a couple minutes faster than that.